The offer and acceptance, one of the important elements of this that are often neglected, that both offer and acceptance should be clear, or must be clear and definite. There's a lot of leeway in this in the Hanafi school particularly, but a lot of things that people say are certainly, the least that can be said, they're not according to Sunnah. And you conduct the marriage in a manner that would be differed upon according to the majority of Islamic scholarship. Now, if we see marriage is a contract, so if I pick on my long-standing friend, let's say I want to sell this to Ustaz Shariq. If I say, will you buy this for $50? Sure. Is this a contract? Why? Yeah, because will you is a query. And sure is you affirm the minimum. Is this a show of interest? Right? And if you pick up something at a tech store, says, are you interested in that? Yeah, I'm considering buying it. Say, okay, I sell it to you for $100. That's not a sale, because I'm interested is not an offer. Right? So very often, the way the ijab and qabul, the offer and acceptance are made, are questionable at best. For example, if you ascribe it to the future, will you marry me? This is a proposal. It is not an offer. It's not an offer. Or if you say, for example, do you agree to marry me? Agreeing to marry is engagement. That I'm now agreeing to marry you, so I'm not going to consider other proposals. Although you need to be careful, because twice it's happened that, both times there's actually a lady, a Muslim woman, asked somebody that, I'm thinking, I got engaged to so-and-so, and she talked about how good he was, and her friend went and proposed to the guy and they got married. So be careful. That's why there's many reasons why discretion is from the Sunnah, right? Especially if we are weak, needy creatures who ultimately self-interest often trumps other things. So it's wrong, especially if the two people were engaged. Pre-engagement, it is even permissible Islamically. It's not wise because it'll lead to broken relationships, but before the two parties have agreed to marry, in the consideration phase, someone else could marry. You can feel hurt, but you can't hold it against them. So these are not these kinds of statements. Will you marry me? Do you agree to marry me? These are not considered properly an ijab and qabul. Now, if someone did get married that way, anything that would ultimately be understood to have been a marriage, particularly people came together for marriage, this is what took place. It is not ideal, but certainly in the Hanafi school, it counts as a marriage. So in front of witnesses, if someone said, I'm your husband, she said, I'm your wife. She said, for life. He said, for life. For the mahar. They did like a spoken word, multi-step ijab and qabul, but it's completely not according to procedure. If everyone's understood, well, at least the witnesses understood that it's a marriage, it's a marriage. But it's certainly questionable and certainly not according to the Sunnah. So this component, and this is why having an educated officiator is important. One of the brothers here was mentioning that because he's done wedding photography, that he's attended weddings where the officiator missed the prayer. Get questionable officiators, right? I have an aunt who came by and she showed up. She went to a nikah and it was between a same-sex couple, but there's someone imam looking, conducting it. So there are all kinds of people that this is someone who has an important role, and these are the things that they should take care of. But these are things that you should ensure are in place. There's also elements of excellence in the offer and acceptance, that the language should be clear. Right? They should include in it a meaning of turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Defining one's intention and purpose in it. And also practically, people take all kinds of things seriously, but very often the couple, and they're nervous. They're asked to make the ijab and qabul in Arabic, and they haven't practiced it. The text is not in front of them. So there's elements that, okay, you synchronize the throwing of the petals or all these things, but the marriage itself is that moment of the ijab and qabul. It's a very short thing. It doesn't take much to get that clear. And what each party is going to say, ultimately, you're the one who's saying it. You didn't technically need the officiator, but think it through. How will you express this in a manner? And one of the practical things, put it in writing. Have it. Then you have 2 pieces of paper. This is what the groom will say, and this is what the bride or the person, the father or the wali, this is what they will say. Just have it in writing. Ascertain, so that they're clear. And it can be in any language. It can be in any language. As long as everyone understands that it's a marriage, it does not have to be in Arabic. You can do it in multiple languages. Some people like the sanctity of saying it in Arabic. That's fine, that's good. But practically, in a language that people will understand, I was told by one of my aunts when I conducted my brother's wedding that was not correct. Because she thought it had to be said in Urdu. So I said, did the Prophet ﷺ say, ye nikah kabool hai? He says, no, he must have said it in Arabic. I said, exactly. So I didn't argue. I just moved on to greeting other relatives. I said, but you didn't say it 3 times. You don't have to say it 3 times either. There's certain legal reasons why in some societies they repeat the nikah in 3 different ways to avoid difference of opinion. But it's not required. It's not required. So that's the offer and acceptance. Practically, it takes a few moments to prepare that in advance.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله